Yo, check it out. Today we are going to be talking about depression, pretty people, and having a positive self-image or positive self-esteem. And what I'm going to break down in this video is show you why people that are unfit or unhealthy or have, say, a higher percentage body fat are just as likely to feel good about themselves as people that are lean or attractive. And the way that I'm going to break this down is illustrating it through a couple different stories of my life. One is the story of my depression and things I went through. The next one is going to be people that I've encountered in the modeling world who are apparently the most attractive people in the world and the people that you think would have a really positive self-image, but they don't. And then I'm also going to illustrate it with some clients of mine and some stories that I've encountered with clients of mine over the course of the past 10 years of being in the personal training industry. And then what I'm going to do at the very end is show you, no matter where you're at in your fitness journey or where you're at with your body composition, how to be comfortable and accept for yourself for who you are and love the journey as you go along. So first story I want to talk about is my story with modeling. When I was younger, I got signed by the biggest modeling agency in the world. I thought everything was going to be awesome. At the time I was really lean, really athletic, and I was pretty big. I was about 215 pounds. And over the course of about 6 to 8 months, as I was traveling from New York, LA, Miami, I got jobs in Europe. I dropped 45 pounds in that time frame. So I went from 215 all the way down to 170. And this all came to a culmination at a time when I went to Paris. I met Marc Jacobs and I did the Louis Vuitton runway show, which was, escalating into all these different opportunities that I had in the modeling world. And long story short, during that time frame, with that, I lost 45 pounds. I was traveling a lot. I didn't know who my friends were. I was starting to get really depressed because I wasn't eating right. I didn't know how to be leaner and thinner and smaller in a healthy way. So I was starving myself. I was a little bit neurotic about the way I was eating. And everything was just a clusterfuck, right? So during this time, I remember specifically the night of the show, which should have been an amazing experience for me, in Paris. I was actually depressed to the point that I really thought that dying would feel better than the way that I felt in that moment. This is example one of, how someone who could be, I don't want to call myself lean or attractive, but at the time I was doing cool things in this world, and I just felt terrible about myself. I felt terrible about the way I looked. My mind was all over the place. And long story short, I felt so bad that I quit the modeling industry right after that. Went back, had kind of a Zoolander moment. I went back and worked for my dad. It was like construction in the Midwest, which is obviously the complete opposite of what I was doing in the industry. So that's example number one. I talk about it with a fair amount of levity now, but the reality of it is during that time frame, I felt awful, super depressed. And it took me a couple years to get out of it, but I did. Example number two. During this time frame, while I was traveling around all these different cities and I was hanging out with, Victoria's Secret models, GQ models, girls that were doing Calvin Klein underwear campaigns, you would run across these girls that just felt terrible about themselves and were having the same neuroses about eating that I was, and were swallowing cotton balls filled with or covered with olive oil in order to feel satiated yet keep their caloric intake low. So it was crazy to me as I started to go through all these different experiences to see and understand how people that you view from the outside, who you think would feel great about themselves and you would think have the most positive self-image possible because everybody in the world is trying to look like them, don't. So it was a real eye-opener. So it was the way I was feeling. It was the way that I was seeing other people in the industry and how they felt. It really changed my perspective about body image, self-esteem, and how you need to view oneself no matter where you're at with your body composition and your fitness journey, whatever you want to call it. Example number three is clients that I've worked with. So backtrack for 2 seconds. The reason I got into strength coaching and personal training is because I wanted to understand how to do these transitions and make these body transformations in a healthy way. And that's what spurred me into the industry, and that's why I love doing it today, because I love helping people get to the place where they want to be. Now, example number three, general population. Let's take it outside of the modeling world, right? I've had plenty of people over the course of the past 10 years that have reached their body composition goal, made massive body transformations, and when they get down to that, they tell me that they feel more insecure about the way that they look now than they did when they started. which is crazy to me, but I understand it now more on a logical level, and I'm about to explain how, again, you can feel great about yourself no matter where you're at in just a moment. But it's a real thing. So let's break down why this is happening. So I talked about my experience, I talked about other girls in the modeling industry, and I talked about general population people who have made transformations, yet they don't feel as good about themselves as they once did when they were actually a little bit heavier or fatter. The reason for this is a couple different things. There's two. One is environment, and how your environment shapes you based on how you compare yourself to other people. So in the modeling world, people are always getting picked apart, looked at. They need to be skinnier, they need to be thinner. So all they're thinking about is all of the negative things that are going on and the things they need to change in order to reach the height that they're supposed to reach. So instead of thinking about how beautiful they are, the fact that they're getting paid tens of thousands of dollars to, be on camera, be on TV, that's not what their focus is. That's not what they're looking at. So environment can shape your reality and the lens through which you see the world, which is really important. So say, for example, I have a client that is 30% body fat, but they're around other people who are 30% body fat, and their environment is showing them that they're relatively similar to the other people around them. It's not a big deal. All of a sudden they step into the gym and they see all these fit people. Now their point of comparison is different, right? So that could be for people in the industry, or that could be for people that are just general population. So the thing about environment is you have to be careful about your point of comparison based on what situations you're putting yourself in. One of the biggest problems right now is the fact that people are constantly in the situation of comparing themselves via social media, and they're looking at not only the hottest people in the world or the best looking people, but also those people are fake as hell. They're fake as fuck. There's all these different apps now. You can change your shape, your face shape, and you can tighten your waist, and you change your skin. It's just not real. So the point of comparison in the environment in which you're putting yourself is very important. That leads us into number two, which is your focus. And this is something that I've had to cultivate over a course of a very long time with myself. It's how I came out of my depression, and it's how I try to teach other people to do the same. Is you need to be intentional about the things that you put in your mind and the things that you're focusing upon. So every morning I wake up, I do my affirmations, I go over my goals, I think about the people who I love and the people who love me, and I try to set myself up psychologically, spiritually, physiologically in order to feel great for the day. Because once you get out into the day, you are going to be hit with so much shit that is going to try to take you down the other path that you won't be able to overcome it. So the two main takeaways here are that no matter who you are, where you are in your body composition journey, you have the ability to choose how you feel. I know that's so contradictory. I know people hate when they hear that. But I can tell you from experience, because I've been through it and I came out of it and I feel great, and I can even feel myself going back into those emotions on occasion, and I pull myself out using the techniques that I know work, right? And then the other one again is the point of focus. So make sure that you're focusing on the right things. Make sure you're using affirmations. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you, guide you, support you, push you to be better.